Well, gotta make an entrance. Alright, so I've changed my opinion about something, and I think it's important to talk about it. This is about Mizkif. Mizkif? I never get that pronunciation right. Let's take a look. He has released a new video stating that Emiru? I'm sorry if I'm butchering how you say her channel name. Weird names. Emily Skunk? I don't know. Lied about him. Now, if you haven't heard the story, basically she's accused him of a lot of misdeeds. And this is Mizkif defending himself and actually suing her for defamation, for the damage caused by saying that he did all these bad things that YouTube doesn't really like us to say out loud. So let's see what he has to say here. Let's go through it line by line pretty much and see what we think might be true, what might not be. Full disclosure, I've seen his video out. Yeah, I saw it yesterday, and this is why I'm making the video. I think this is interesting, and I want to go through this step by step and really dissect what he has to say, because I used to think he was the bad guy. Now, I think my opinion has changed. Let's take a look.
Okay, I have the court filings with me, and today I would like to go over them. I'm Matthew Renato, the streamer known online as Mizkif. In the court filings, my name is also spelled Mizrandino. This is about Emily Shunk, the streamer online known as Emiru, who I was in a relationship with for about 3 years. For 3 years, she was the first person I saw every morning and the last person I saw every night. She was a person who wanted to marry me and have my children.
Not really how I'd start the video, to be fair. Honestly, there's a little bit of I want her back in this whole demeanor here, but let's keep going.
Then, about 10 months later, after we broke up, in October of 2025, on a live stream to her audience of millions.
Now, I saw this live
accused
stream
me of sexual assault.
I saw this live stream. She was very believable. Now, she had evidence that proves some of her points, not the criminal points that she is making, but she had some evidence that made it seem like this guy is not a good dude. Like, you can use the stuff she did show was like, why is he acting like that? But none of it was enough evidence to really back these claims. But let's keep going.
Stalking, and abuse. I deny those accusations completely. To be clear about the setup, I am the one who went to court. I sued her for defamation, meaning for making false accusations that damaged me. A court has since ordered me to lay out, one statement at a time, exactly.
Okay, so he's been ordered to do this, but I don't think he's been ordered to do this on YouTube. I think he's doing this to make a point. I believe that he is assuming if these statements by Emiru are not true, which I don't think they are, then he has a really strong case for defamation. Because even I thought this guy was guilty. I mean, granted, I never actually put the hand down and oh man, that guy's a bad guy. But I definitely was like, I believe her over him. And now, things have changed. Let's keep going. I have my reasons here.
Exactly what she said that is false. This is me doing that. With the public court record and her own words placed next to each claim, so you can weigh it for yourself. Here's what's changed. After her October 2025 live stream, the accusation spread everywhere, and to most people, the story was already settled. I was guilty. But what changed is that in June 2026, a federal judge reviewed her request to throw my entire case out and recommended the opposite, that it moves forward. So here's the accusations.
That's not the big high five he thinks it is. It's just a judge going, well, he has enough of a case to make this worth pursuing. Just because a judge thinks that you have a case doesn't mean that you are going to win. It just means that this needs to be looked at. There are two sides here and not just, there are two sides that exist and not no sides or just one side. This is a case that has to be debated and evidence provided and arguments made. Doesn't mean that you're going to win. It just means that you have a case to talk about. You have something that is worthy of the court's time. Oftentimes, courts will not take cases because they laugh them out of the courtroom. That's an old adage that it tends to happen if you have a dumb case. Gosh, honestly, I can't think of a dumb case off the top of my head, but it has to be something insane. And the court will just look at you and go, we're not taking this. This is not our problem. Bye. And they didn't say that to him, because this is a real thing. You know, you can't make, generally in most states that I know of, you cannot state that somebody has committed a crime that you know he didn't do. Generally, that's considered defamation under most laws in most states. Granted, your state could be different, and I am no lawyer, so I'm not giving you legal advice. This is just me giving my opinion on things. I'm just some dude on the internet. Anyway, let's move forward. I want to keep going here.
That she made on stream. These are in her words as the judge quoted them. On October 2025, near the start of her live stream, by the magistrate judge on the account of the transcript, she said she was, and quote, finally going to be opening up about the psychological and domestic abuse, stalking and harassment, sexual assault, and threats of blackmail that Mizkif has done towards me, and some of these issues which are still ongoing. Under Texas law, as a magistrate judge in my case wrote, accusing someone of a crime or of engaging in serious sexual misconduct is defamation per se. In plain terms, defamation per se means that falsely accusing someone of a crime is treated by the law as damaging on its face. So the harm does not have to be proven separately. Those are accusations of crimes. I deny every one of them. And the judge did not leave that standard in the abstract, applying it to her sexual assault accusation in the same opinion.
Now, there is a caveat to it. Accusing someone of a crime that you believe they did is different. So you can't just say you can't accuse anyone of crimes because you don't have enough evidence to prove it. That's not your job. No. If you are accusing someone of a crime in good faith, generally you're going to have a hard time suing that person for defamation if they legitimately believe that you did these crimes and they have some form of reasonable evidence. As long as it's considered a reasonable thing to do, then it's there. Because otherwise you'd have no one take anybody to court or accuse anybody of crimes or come out as witnesses. But there's a reason that his defamation case is going to he's probably going to win. And we'll get to that when he gets to it here, because it's...
she found that accusation reasonably capable of a defamatory meaning and
I
allowed
thought
my defamation claim to move forward. If you want to find any of these readings, I'll be putting a link below where you can read everything. For the first time I spoke until now, my account has not changed. The same denial, the same story.
I don't know. He did a very bad job. His previous video on this
had to take anything back.
It definitely didn't help him as much as he thinks it probably did.
Repeatedly through this entire process. And I'm going to walk you through the lies in her own filings and her words. The same filing has her calling one live stream spontaneous, unedited, and unscripted in one document, and describing a lawyer's review and prepared notes in another. It has her swearing in a footnote that we did not get back together, while 2 months of her messages say that we did. It was her announcing a restraining order in 2 states that she never filed. Those are not differences of memory, they are lies, and the records are right here. The first thing that people told about me were that he admitted to everything. I never did, and I never moved off my own story. The first thing most people heard about was not that the accusations itself, it was that I had gone on my own stream and admitted to all of it. This is false. I deny these claims from the beginning, and I've said that in the same thing every day since. Almost no one listened to my side. Before I went live...
To be fair, yeah, I didn't listen to his side either. I saw the clips of the stream where he basically tried to defend himself. And like I said, did not do a good job. You did not make yourself seem innocent. If I remember correctly, I thought he was jaded. He didn't like being broken up with. And... Well, not really broken up with. I think there was a lot of hate. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. I could be misremembering that one. It's been a while.
Emiru went live first. She told the world that I sexually assaulted her, abused her, and stalked her before I had a single word in my defense. I deny those accusations completely. The word that came next, rapist, came from everyone who heard her and ran with it. The verdict was in before I even said a single word. And when I did go live, I told my side, and I've stuck with it word for word to today. She has not. She has done exactly one live stream. And across that single stream, her story does not hold together. It has contradictions that are laid out in the sections that follow.
Her live stream was
in
far
her own
better.
filings
She was
and
very
her own
convincing.
Words. One account has never
You
changed.
just weren't as convincing.
The other keeps changing.
But facts.
So why does the false version
Just being
that I admitted to everything still win? That's because almost no one watched either stream in full. People pulled small
did not
clips
watch hers
from
in
my
full. I
about
didn't watch hers in
30-minute
full. That's
response,
true.
cut away the context, and wrapped their own narrative around it for views and for clips. And the reach was never close to her. So in Emiru's filing, her motion calls it spontaneous. Her own transcript has her describing a lawyer's review and prepared notes. In her motion to dismiss, her attorney describes the stream this way in regards to the sexual assault. The live stream was spontaneous, unedited, and unscripted, speaking openly and vulnerably in the moment. In her declaration, she states the filed transcript of the live stream is accurate, a true and correct copy. And she says at 18 minutes and 5 seconds into that stream, I have been in contact with my lawyer. I had them review everything that I'm planning to say today. And across that same broadcast,
So it's
she keeps refuting.
So she says it's spontaneous, but also, no, it's actually not, because I had a lawyer review what I was going to talk about. Apparently, if you did, you didn't have a good enough lawyer.
To how prepared she was. It was not just on a whim, she says. I took a lot of notes. I just ended up reading off my own notes. So my attorney puts it in court.
It wasn't spontaneous. She's trying to, I believe the case that she's trying to make in her defense is that I was talking off the cuff and I said some things I probably shouldn't have. That is, I think, her defense. That's not a defense. Talking off the cuff can still get you in a lot of trouble. Be careful when you open your mouth. People are out there listening.
Directly. Shunk should not be heard now to argue that her defamatory comments were some off-the-cuff, spontaneous, emotional response, when she specifically stated that not only were her comments thoroughly planned out and scripted, that they were in fact reviewed by counsel in advance to the live stream. So her brief on the stream was spontaneous and unscripted. Her own filed transcript has her saying a lawyer reviewed and it read from notes. Both are her words. In the same case, they describe the same 90 minutes two different ways. The sexual assault allegations, she called it sexual assault. Here's what she said happened and what I did. She told her audience and later the court that what happened between us on one night was sexual assault, a crime. She named it on the live stream, where she made her own other accusations. Then she went over what she says happens that night. These are her own words, as quoted in my complaint. He started kissing my face and I let him do it. And then suddenly he tried to climb on top of me and aggressively shoved his hands down my pants. And I screamed. And when I screamed, he jumped off of me like a cat. Here's what—
Okay, so let me get this straight. They're kissing. He decides to make the next move. She's like, screams, and he's like, oh dang, she don't want this, and then goes and gets off. I don't see how that's a bad— I mean, granted, maybe he should have read the room, and it's you're reading a woman's face and understanding what she wants is not as easy as women think it is for some reason. So him jumping off as soon as she made that noise is a normal human response. He went for the next move, something that he probably had done before with this girl of 3 years. And when she is like, no, he stops and gets off. I don't see the problem here. I see a guy respecting a woman's consent and going, well, she doesn't want this. I don't want this. If she don't want this, this is bad. I'm getting off. So I don't see how this is him committing that crime. I'm no lawyer, though, but I think a normal person would do the same. They would, if they were to make the next move with someone they've made the next move with for 3 years, and then when they obviously don't want it, which I'd say screaming is a good indicator. She's like, I want him to kiss me, but I didn't want him to do anything else. And then when I made that clear, he stopped. Okay. I don't see the problem here, but let's keep going.
What I have to say about that, plainly. I did what any man should do in the situation. She made it clear that she didn't want it, and I stopped. I respected her not consenting. I did the right thing in that situation. And look closely at her own account, because on the thing that matters the most, it agrees with me. The moment she reacted, I stopped. When I screamed, he jumped off of me, like a cat. As her words, not mine. I did not push past her. I did not ignore her. The instant I understood that she was not okay, I stopped. I did not sexually assault her and deny it completely. Here's word for word from the transcript filed in this case is what I exactly said.
That's
on
probably
that
what she's referring to when she says
this was never a confession, and it was denial. And I wrote, I knew the relationship wasn't healthy at this point. I knew we had to end it soon. Emmy posted a very provocative picture, one that she knew I would hate, and she posted it to make me upset. She admitted she made me upset with it, and we got into a heated argument after I broke up with her. We broke up for about a month. Then we got back together because we thought we could make it work. We went to get food at BJ's, a common place where we would get food. And then we went back to her house. We cuddled for about 30 minutes and we started to kiss. She said that she was okay with it on her stream, and I started to advance to the next stage because I thought that's what she wanted. She yelped, and I immediately sprung up and was scared if I did anything wrong or did wrong in general. I got scared and left the house. So why does this false version that I admitted to everything
I wonder
still
what the
went?
next sentence
I would
says
also
here,
like
where
to
he
make
says
it
he
very clear
apologizes.
that up until that moment, Emiru and I had been dating for over 3 years. We did break up for about a couple weeks, but we immediately got back together. And through the past last year of our relationship, we were constantly breaking up with each other, and then we would repeatedly have sex and get back together. So
okay, look, dude. Why would this part's on you? Why in the world would you break up with a girl and keep getting back together? What are you, 12? Oh no. She ate my snacks one day. We gotta break up. No, men, do not get back together with exes. Seriously. You break up for a reason. You don't get back together. Those reasons are still there. Most people these days don't know how to resolve conflict. So if you have a reason you broke up, it's likely you didn't fix it when you got back together. It's just you guys both wanted to do something, and you couldn't find somebody else to do it with, so you picked each other because it's comfortable. People have chosen comfort over what's best for them. And if he had stayed broken up, he would not be in this situation. If you would have stayed broken up the first time you guys broke up, however long ago that was, you wouldn't be here right now. Your life wouldn't be torn to pieces because of a girl who likely had a little bit of a vengeance in her heart. Let's be honest here. At some point, this guy has to take responsibility for staying with somebody he knew was toxic for him and for her. She knew that he was toxic to her. This is really just a bad relationship. It takes two to tango. I don't think this guy is 100% like a good guy. I don't think he's the good guy. I think he's just a guy who's kind of a jerk. But I don't think he did these bad things. I think he's just a jerk. She hates him and is willing to twist any type of memory she has of him to be the jerk. All right, let's keep going before I get...
This is just one of those moments. To date, there is no evidence of a police report or any other legal action over the incident she alleges happened around October 2024, despite her public statements in October 2025, where she said to her audience that she was seeking a restraining order.
I am already in the process of filing a restraining order on him in both Texas and California.
20 months have now passed since the alleged incident without a single criminal complaint, restraining order, or investigation appearing in any record in California or Texas. The only active case arising from any of this is my defamation lawsuit that I brought against her. The total absence of any official action over a year and a half stands in stark contrast to the severity of what she accused me of. When she finally did raise it, a full year after the date, she points to, it was not to the police. It was an audience of millions on a live stream.
Okay, so that right there, that is the smoking gun, should you say. She never filed anything. Now, this is not some poor little girl who has no resources and has nothing. She obviously has a lawyer reviewing what she says. If you have that kind of resources and power, which she does, she wants you to think she doesn't, but she does. Why would you have not filed a police report? Why would you not have sued him in court for sexual assault? You could even take him to court civilly for that. You could sue him for that. Even if you don't think you have enough evidence, civil court is different than criminal court. In most states, civil court only requires you to be 51% right. That's it. You have to be slightly more right than the guy you're suing. And that's how it works, generally. Like I said, every state's different. But in general, civil court, as long as you're a little bit more right than the other guy, you're good. A case in point would be the O.J. Simpson trial. He won the criminal case. He was not convicted of murder. He got off. What he did lose was a civil case for wrongful death. They still found him responsible because they didn't have to have as much evidence as they would have in criminal court. That's what this is. And she never took him to court for it. She never called the police. This is what you should be doing. Never just ignore a crime like that. Those are serious crimes. They don't need to be just ignored and pushed under the rug. If someone treats you that badly, you need to call the police. All right, let's keep going here. We got more to go.
This is the reason she gave for going live. I felt like it was a necessary stream because I have heard that he has done things to other people that align with some of my own experiences. So I felt like it would be wrong for me to keep holding on to all this information. And here is what does not fit an assault. We kept dating for months afterward. Her own messages laid out in the next two sections show her coming over.
Let's pause this here. Okay. Let's see here. I mean, these do show in 2024 them being quite friendly to each other. I can't. This is not necessarily evidence that absolutely proves a relationship, a romantic one at least, but it does prove that you are in a friendly relationship. I'm sorry, I don't usually stay friends with people who assault me. That's just not something I would, do. I don't know who would do that. All right, let's keep going.
Cooking me dinner, asking to sleep together, calling me babe, messaging me, Merry Christmas, babe. When it ended in January 2025, I was the one who walked away, and she is the one who did not want to split up. Her lawyers swore in a footnote that we did not get back together after the assault. Her own messages in the section below say otherwise. That is a lie. And in the record,
I don't think
in court,
she's gonna have a hard time defending this case.
Even were
the case itself is just
Emiru called
honestly
sexual assault the crime. But once I sued her, her lawyers argued that her own words were never factually a claim at all.
This is
only her protected emotional truth. She said, and I quote, "Her story is admirable, and in telling it, she is stating her emotional truth."
Okay, this is my problem with this whole thing. This is the deciding factor. This is why I changed my opinion. Everything up until now is useful, but this is why I don't believe her now. Emotional truth? That's BS. There's no such thing as emotional truth. And the problem I have with that, it's obviously a BS response. You don't say that when you actually believe these things. If he's actually guilty of the things you're accusing him of, you don't defend yourself by saying, well, it was my emotional truth. I didn't mean what I said. No, you say, no, this guy did those things. I just decided not to press charges. That should have been her defense. Yeah, he's guilty of the things I accused him of. I just let him off the hook because of our relationship, and, I don't want to tear the man down. I had to get out. That would have been a believable response that might have saved her case. A judge in Texas, I don't know, California might take emotional truth as, gospel. Generally, a smart judge is going to see emotional truth and roll their eyes just as much as I am. That's not a defense. That's just not emotional truth. Emotional truth is not protected speech. You having an emotion about why you're saying something doesn't make whatever you're about to say protected under the First Amendment. You can't just say lies about somebody just because you want them to be true or your emotions tell you they're true even though in your head you know logically they're not. That's not how this works. And this is why I don't believe Emiru. Mizkif has a strong case here. And if they offer to settle, she would be lucky if they settle. And if I was him and I was the absolute good guy and did none of these things and she's just mad because I broke up with her, I would finish the lawsuit all the way. I would not settle. I would go all the way through to the end. Like I said, this is not legal advice, but I would go all the way through to the end. Because generally, when you have settlements, you usually agree not to talk about it anymore. That's one of the typical things you hear from settlement cases. You don't want to talk about how much money was paid. You don't accuse each other anymore. You don't talk about the case. It's usually over and moves past, and you never talk about it again. Winning it, that's a whole different story. You're not settling. I wonder how much money he's suing for. I'm going to have to check that and look, but I could see where he has a strong case for his business went down because I don't believe him, or didn't believe him at first. And now I'm looking at him going, he might be a jerk, but he's a jerk that's right. Just because you don't like somebody and that they're kind of a, dick doesn't make them automatically guilty of serious crimes. And that's, I think, where she's at. He was a dick to her. He was a jerk. But he didn't do the things you accused him of. You have a toxic relationship, but that doesn't make it a crime. Otherwise, a lot of people would be going to jail. All right, let's keep going.
Not some statement of decisive fact. My attorneys answered that with one line. Emotional truth is not a recognized defense to defamation in Texas. And this is not just my side spin on her defense. The magistrate judge, restating Shunk's own motion in her own words, described it in exactly those terms. She also argues that her statement, considered in its entirety, was an opinion or her protected emotional truth. The judge did not buy it on the part that matters the most. Vague feelings about a relationship can be protected opinion. But falsely accusing someone of sexual assault, the judge held, is different because those words can only mean one thing, that I committed a crime.
Yeah,
she found
like I said, generally, you're not in trouble for saying, oh man, I think that my ex-boyfriend was a dick. I can't stand him. He's a jerk. I don't like him. Versus, my ex-boyfriend robbed the First Federal Bank on Tuesday the 24th. There's a difference here. You see?
About Shunk's accusation. Considering the gist of Shunk's statement, which included allegations of sexual assault, the court finds that it was reasonably capable of a defamatory meaning. He plausibly pleads a claim for defamation against Shunk based on her allegedly untrue statement that includes allegations of sexual assault. So here's where it stands. She told millions of people I sexually assaulted her. She has never produced a police report. We dated for months after that, the night that she points to. And when I took her to court, her own lawyers argued those words were not a factual accusation, but her feelings. Her emotional
feelings
truth.
Aren't facts.
The federal magistrate judge recommended that my defamation claim goes forward on exactly that statement. And in her exact words, found it reasonably capable of a defamatory meaning. Her filings say we never got back together. The messages from those months say otherwise. In her brief reply, her lawyer stated in a footnote, for clarity, Shunk and Mizrandino did not get back together after the assault. Sadly, this is a common tactic by abusers to try to justify their behavior towards victims. But on her own live stream, she described that same breakup as nothing more than a short period. A short period is a brief break, and then we got back together.
Yeah, her own words are going against her. This is the problem.
Timeline, because this is where
when you're
people
constantly
have gotten
online.
Confused. According
when
to
you're
Emiru
constantly
and her
online,
lawyers, we broke up in
everything
October
you say is out in the open.
2024. And
so he
they
has
told
proof
the
to
court
prove whatever
that we
he's saying,
never
whatever
got
he
back
wants.
together.
You said
every
too
message below is after that. On November 18th, I told Emiru that she can come over, and she said, "Is it okay if my alarms go off at 10, LOL?" I said, sure. On December 16th, I ask if she wants to come over. She tries to call my phone. On December 18th, she makes me salmon for dinner. When I tell her my uncle died, she asks if I want to come over, and she does. On December 21st, she asks to come shower at my place. Can I still come over tonight?
You know, girls always come over to your house,
said my
you get
shower
naked
was
and go into
cold?
your shower.
Obviously, I was at her
when
place.
you're broken up.
My
Happens
hot
all
water
the time.
completely is out now.
Yeah.
I want to
He's got a
shower
case
at
for
your
that, too.
place.
He
I'll just
has
get up early again.
his lawyers,
said
I don't know
yes.
if he's
On
doing
December
any of this
25th,
actual work.
Christmas.
She
said
thoroughly
hi,
proved
and
their
then
case, in my
Merry
opinion. If I was a
Christmas,
judge, I'd
babe.
have to rule in
This
his
does
favor.
sound like a couple that is broken up.
It doesn't
On
mean that
December
this is what's
30th,
going to happen.
2024,
I would
we
love to
sleep
see
together.
her response to
Me,
this.
okay, I'm going to bed.
But
Emiru said,
honestly, at this
"Okay."
point, considering how
I
much
then
she
said,
says,
I'm just getting ready. Emiru
I would
said,
probably just be quiet.
Do you want to sleep together? I then said, yeah. Keep in mind that a lot of the calls that we would have with each other are
She
not
asked him,
shown
"Do you want to sleep together?"
because we called each other every single day as we slept
At
with
1
each other
a.m.
every single
Sorry,
day.
if you can't see, my face
January
is
the
covering it
15th
up,
to
but-
18th, I call her babe in a text. Her filing said that we did not get back together after the October 2024 breakup, as she describes. These are her own messages from November, December, and January. All after that date, the filing and the messages describe two different relationships.
Too late to leave my
Our
circle.
next point, she also says that she ended the relationship. But here's what actually happened the
everyone
morning
says they
I
ended a
walked out.
relationship
We
when
were
the woman's
together
hurt.
on and off for 3 years. A relationship we kept hidden from almost everyone around us. But near the end, we broke up. We got back together.
Why would you keep it
more
hidden?
times?
That-
than
that
now.
was one
I
of the
wanted
things that bothers
space,
me too.
and she wanted to move closer. I told her I wanted her to move out, and that I wanted space.
Here's what
and
I think's
it was a
happening.
line that never healed.
I think
the week
likely
of our official
it's a
breakup,
open-ish
in January,
kind of
we had agreed
relationship.
to finally sit down and
That's
each
what I
say
think.
what we
And-
wanted for the future. We slept at her house on the morning of January 23rd, 2025. She handed me a note, and in it, she wrote that she wanted to marry me, that she wanted to build a life and move into an apartment right next to me.
Do you have the
because
note?
she knew how much I needed my space. And I looked at it. I looked at her, and I handed it back to her. I told her, I can't do this anymore, and I'm sorry. And the last thing I heard as I was closing her front door, and she said, don't go. This is who ended it. So in my complaint, I said, he called off the relationship
Now,
in January
that-
2025. So to be exact,
Is a pretty strong indicator of why she's mad at him. Girls do not like it when you break up with them. They can be jaded and vindictive. Hey, be careful where you stick things, because sometimes you end up with people who are going to really take you down. And she sounds like she's taken this guy down, or tried to. And he seems to have the evidence to prove his side. Like I said, if I was going to be the judge in this case, I'm going to, up until this point, he has more evidence to prove his side than she does. In fact, the transcripts, everything that's been submitted to the court that he has shown us so far, proves his case. But let's keep going here. There's probably a little bit more.
the exact date that our relationship ended was on January 23rd, 2025. I left Austin in early February, first for Japan, and the move to Los Angeles came afterwards. After 2 trips overseas, the day by day in the timeline is going to be shown. These messages are shown with me and at one point my best friend Extra Emily. So Extra Emily knew that I wanted to break up with Emiru for a long time, and these messages are on the exact date that I broke up with Emiru on January 23rd, 2025. I messaged her and I said, bitch, I did it. I ended it. Emily said, shut up. No way. I'm free to call whenever. I said, are you streaming? And she said, not until Saturday. And then I messaged her and I said, okay, I'll call
now,
him 5.
these are all assuming these
The
have
conversation
been accepted
didn't
by the
end
court
there.
as evidence.
2 days later, on
so
January 25th,
these messages
it was
could be
Emiru
doctored.
reaching out to
We
talk
don't know
things
if they're
over
submitted
with
in the court
extra
records
Emily.
or not.
And extra Emily
These kind of things
had
verified.
already heard from me
but,
that it was over.
let's
So
assume
this
these
is
are all
January
true.
25th, 2025. Extra Emily says, okay. And then she says, she texted me to talk. I'm pretending like you didn't tell me the news.
Yeah,
okay, I'm talking to her on the phone soon. I then said, are you streaming tomorrow? And she said, no. So if this doesn't prove that Emiru is lying, that who broke up with who, I don't know what does. So now we're gonna move on to the stalking allegations.
Does it prove?
And where
Maybe.
I actually was. On February 2nd, 2025, about 10 days after we broke up, I flew to Japan. The reason why I flew to Japan is that I knew if I stayed in Austin, that we were just gonna get back together and get in the same loop that we had been in for almost a year. On February 21st, 2025, I came back to Austin and stayed about 3 weeks. This is when my friend Simply had a party, which is the one that she ties to stalking, was on February 23rd, 2 days after I landed, about a month after we broke up. On March 16th, 2025, I flew back to Japan and stayed there for nearly 2 months. On May 12th, 2025, I returned to Austin for about 2.5 weeks. And in May 29th, 2025, I moved to Los Angeles. Stalking means being near someone and contacting them when they don't want it. For most of the year, after we ended it, I was on another continent and then in another state.
It usually
I
has
put
to be
distance
persistent.
between us deliberately, more than once. And on my own stream, here is what I exactly said about it. That week, I made flights to Japan because I didn't want to sit around and wait possibly to get back together again. I have never talked to her in person since. I have been removed from OTK Discords. I did see her at a party once at Simply's house, one of my close friends. The house was very small and I opened the door. I said, whoops, I want to make it very clear I was not following her. It just happened that I was with someone she knew the entire night. The house is about 2,000 square feet with about 50 people. I, of course, was near her, but I was never following her. The specific incident she calls stalking.
You're at one of your close friends invites you to a party and doesn't say, hey, your ex-girlfriend might be here. This guy's your friend? Just saying. That's not what my friends would do. That's not what most friends would do. When you're friends with somebody, you're like, hey, look, you can be okay because she's here. She's coming. Or she might be coming because what's-her-face is coming and she's best friends with her and she might bring her. So just be chill if she is here. Your friends aren't going to, have your back like that. This is the one part of his argument so far that I don't think is ironclad.
It's a party. Here is how she described it on her own stream from the certified transcript she filed herself. I made the mistake of thinking that I only had to cut him off through personal private communication, but I also had to start avoiding going to the same parties or places I was worried he'd be. There was a party that I attended. I was aware that he would be there and I thought it wouldn't be a big deal. We're adults, right? During this party, I felt like...
It's not stalking if you know he's going to be there and you're like, you know what, it'll be fine. Man, if I could do nah, man, it'll be fine. Man, I wish Critical Drinker could just weigh in. I need his voice for 5 seconds. That's you deciding to go see this person. If anything, he could say that that's stalking him, but it's really not the same. It's just not stalking. Showing up at the same party, knowing each other might be there, and going, I'm cool with that. That clearly means you aren't being stalked. You're like, I don't like that guy, but I can handle being around him for a few minutes.
Like he was following me around and monitoring me. But I thought that was just being paranoid. About 30 minutes later, the room that we're in, the door opens, it's Miz. He opens the door, makes eye contact with me, goes, ooh, and closes the door and leaves. That is
so he sees you and then leaves, and that's your stalking? He goes,
allegations.
Man, she's here.
Read in her own words, This is obviously
Oh man, Britta's
not
here.
stalking. She was never cut off. She says that she cut me off through personal private communication, but she controlled the contact. She didn't block me, and on her own stream, she showed messages proving that.
This is interesting. Just because you didn't block somebody from communicating with you doesn't necessarily mean that it's not stalking. It just means that you didn't want to do that work. Are any of these messages useful? I don't see anything here that I think is... I mean, these are messages that... I mean, they're definitely desperate. This guy's obsessed with her. I think these two people actually do love each other, and that the end of this lawsuit should be both of them getting married. That's what I think should happen. I think that'd be the funniest way to end this. For a guy who clearly says he's moving on, is not moving on. Please call me. I haven't stopped thinking about you in months. If these messages are from him, which I don't know if he's going to deny this. I want you so much. Please just hear me out. I wrote out a lot of how I feel. They're not necessarily enough to show stalking, I think. They're not consistent. I mean, there's some that go, weeks at a time. That's not stalking. I mean, I get contacted more by the extended warranty people for my car than I do by anybody else. And I don't think that's stalking. Although they are obsessed with me. It's probably because I'm good looking. Anyway. This is a bad look for him. Just everything here is not good for him. This is definitely a toxic relationship. But to say it's stalking, it doesn't look like stalking. It looks like an ex-boyfriend who is sad that he let you go. And this guy, honestly, I think he has a screw or two loose. But he's not guilty of the things that she's accused him of. At least in my opinion.
I could still reach her. Choosing not to answer someone while never blocking them, while leaving every channel they could use to reach you wide open, and while showing no sign that you want them to stop is not the same as being stalked. She also
assuming that those messages are true and that everything's correct, words, I don't think aware that I would be that there
and chose to attend
she has a case there either.
Party.
She could have said, "Don't contact me anymore." She never said anything. At least if these messages are all that's there. I never saw any responses. She never said, "Don't talk to me anymore." She also says that she
felt and thought she was paranoid. She does not say, "I actually followed or monitored her." She said that she felt that way, and twice told her audience that she thought she was just being paranoid. And lastly, I opened the door and I left. Her one concrete moment is that about 30 minutes later, I opened a door, saw that she was inside, and said, "Ooh," and walked away. Stalkers follow you. They obsess over you. They don't.
I don't know. He might be obsessed over her, but I don't think he's stalking her.
And walk away. This is the entire first-hand account in her own filing.
I'm not seeing anything that indicates that he's done anything criminal at all.
Among the crimes she accused
bad moves?
If I was stalking
some of these things are bad moves.
I would be the worst stalker on the planet. I
but
left the
just
country
being bad
for
in relationships doesn't make you a criminal.
Immediately after we broke up, flew to Japan twice, and moved across the country shortly after I returned. That is the behavior of someone pulling as much distance possible between themselves and the other person, not following them. And while she was calling me a stalker in front of millions of people, she was quietly making the rounds through the community, going from person to person behind my back, spreading a version of events I had no opportunity to answer. Emiru also claims on her own stream that she filed a restraining order in 2 states. Emiru said, and I quote, "I'm already in the process of filing a restraining order on him in both Texas and California." A restraining order
to make
is a public court
sound
record. It is not
legit.
In her motion. It is not in her sworn declaration. It is not in her first reply. She has not produced
She was just saying
one
that
or
for the
any
stream.
as of today.
People say that all the
Roughly
time.
8
It's almost like a
months
common
later.
phrase.
After she announced
She
it,
might defend herself
there
with
is
that,
still
actually.
no
I'd be like,
restraining
well, it's a
order
common phrase. I
or
was thinking about
protective
doing it.
order of
Saying
any
that I'm in the
kind
process
against me
could mean,
that has
well, I'm thinking
appeared
about how I'm
in
going to do it.
Texas
I'm in the
or
process.
California.
And that's
My
it.
own attorney
That's not
has
what
received none.
it implies,
And the people
but you could
who
make
follow
you
the
could twist
case
that
closely,
truth.
watching for any filings of any type.
Well, the judge is going to agree with that. I
have
don't
also
know.
found none. And the timing is the whole point. In both states she named, an emergency order is built to be fast because it's meant for people in real danger. In California, a judge
Many
can
states,
grant
like
a
he's saying
temporary
here,
restraining order
offer
the same day
restraining
you apply,
orders that are quick,
with a full
and
hearing
that's for a
set
good reason.
Just 21,
Especially in
25
California, you can't
days
just go to a
later.
gun store and buy
In
something
Texas,
to protect yourself
a
from the
judge can
person who's
grant
trying
a
to kill you.
temporary ex
So
parte
restraining order is
protective
really
order
useful
the
because
same
let's
day
be honest
on a
here.
finding.
A criminal,
A clear
when they see
and
that piece of
present
paper,
danger with a
are
hearing
never going to
within
go near
14
you.
days.
They
Someone who
never,
genuinely
ever
needs
have
protection
violated
can
restraining
have a
orders
temporary
and
order
murdered someone.
in hours.
This doesn't happen.
Not
Never.
months. She said
In
that she
fact,
was
I don't even know
already
why
in the
people need
process.
firearms. You really just don't need them
In
at all. You should
October
just,
2025,
because,
8 months
whenever they
later,
issue a law
there is nothing
about firearms,
She
criminals
also told her
always go,
audience
you know
that
what,
my
I can't
lawsuit
have that
was a
anymore.
bluff, that
You know
I
what,
couldn't
that 10
win.
that
In nearly
20
the
round
same
mag,
breath,
I don't need
she
it. I'm just going to have to go
predicted
with
that I
10.
would sue her.
Yeah,
and waved
yeah,
it
you know
off
I'm a
in
felon and I'm not
advance
supposed to own a
as
firearm, but you know
meaningless.
what?
She put,
You don't
and I
have to give
quote,
it up now.
I would not be surprised if he tries to sue me for the stream that I
Criminals don't
did
obey the law.
today
Good people
and for
obey the law.
coming out about him.
Criminals
Not because
don't
he thinks
care.
that he would win,
There's
but for
300
PR
million guns in
reasons.
this country. Actually, I think it's 400
Like a
million guns in
slap
this country.
lawsuit. Interesting. So on camera,
really think
she
a
was
law is
sure
gonna
of
protect
two things. A restraining order was already on
Sorry,
the way.
I get a little off topic
and then
on
my
that,
case was
but
baseless.
let's be honest here.
It was a PR stunt that I couldn't
If
win.
someone is threatening
Neither
in
of
your
those things
life,
have held up. There's been no restraining
on the
order
cops
or
to get
protective
there,
order that has
a good way
ever
to die.
appeared in Texas or California. And the judge who reviewed her motion to throw my case out recommended the opposite, that it moves forward. She told her audience I could not win. The court let me proceed. here's the
so that
part
means that there's
she
enough
leaves
evidence
out
to proceed to
about the
trial.
party.
Like I said
Simply,
earlier, this is
whose
enough
party it
evidence to
was
go. There's
is
enough
one of my
evidence here. There's a
closest
strong
friends.
argument. There's
We
an
lived
argument
together
here that
for
needs to be
years.
decided.
And at the time,
now
we were
he's
going
making
through
this
our
out
both breakups
like he's already won.
and dealing with our own
He hasn't already
problems.
won yet. He still has
When
to go
I
to
got
court. He
back
still has
from
to win
Japan,
this case.
He is the one who
or
invited
settle.
me. I was not there
And
to find her.
uploading
While
it like
simply
this,
was giving
I'm
me a tour of his house.
honestly
I
surprised
opened the
he's
door.
allowed to do this.
I saw 4 OTK members sitting there in the corner.
I don't
and
think
closed
he.
it.
I'm not sure
That
he's
is
allowed
the
to do
whole
this. I don't know
opening
the
the
law
door
in this kind of
moment that she
situation. I'd like to get
describes
a actual lawyer's
as me
response to
stalking her. I
uploading
want
this
that to
kind of
sink
video
in.
and going over
But
the
that is
accusations
what she
step by step.
described as
But
stalking.
he is in a
The moment
lawsuit
she
and he
describes
has
a
lawyers.
tour
I assume
of
they
my
would have
best
approved
friend's
this.
house
I
is
hope
me stalking
he
her.
talked to
And
them
my
first.
own text from that night prove it in real time. I messaged Extra Emily.
He's going over the
asking
evidence in the
why
case.
everyone was upstairs, what the group in the corner was about, and what was going on.
I just don't know.
I thought that they were making
if the jury
another
was to see
version of
this,
OTK, and I got worried.
I could see this
And Extra
as
Emily just told me,
upsetting the
basically not
trial,
worry
and
at
I
all.
just
That
don't
was it.
know
And she somehow labeled that
how
as
legit
stalking.
it is to
in
do
May
this.
of 2025.
This is my problem here.
5 months after we broke up, I sent her a long message by her own account on her own stream. She received it and sat with how to respond until her friends told her it had to be AI. She said, and I quote, I had someone send me a massive apology message and I wasn't sure what to respond. I showed a couple of friends and they were like, this is literally ChatGPT.
I had someone send me a massive apology message, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to respond. So I showed a couple friends and they were like, Emmy, this is literally ChatGPT, and I was like, oh.
Why do?
I guess I'm
Why
not
is it
responding
always
to
a
that.
face reaction like that?
Yeah,
You
no,
see
they
how her
did,
friend
and
reacted? It just doesn't make
said
sense.
It's probably ChatGPT.
This is
That looks
obviously
so
about me
rehearsed.
because we were in a relationship the entire
I
time.
can't stand it.
that
I mean,
ChatGPT has
at least
existed.
if you're gonna be fake,
This was
just
months
admit it.
before
But
she even went
maybe it's
public
legit.
with an
I don't
accusation.
know.
You do not consider how to respond to the person you say sexually assaulted, abused you, and stalked you. The only thing that stopped her was that her friends decided that my words were too well written to be mine. Think about that. I would like to now talk about the abuse claim that Emiru tried to hint at on her stream. Here's the truth, in my own words. I have never hit Emiru. The one physical thing that ever happened was an accident. I had a habit of tossing my phone onto my bed, and one time it bounced off the mattress and caught her in the eye, and it left a bruise.
That's a
I
weird
felt
thing
terrible about
to
it.
even say.
I apologized immediately.
Why would
I
you
stopped
even bring
throwing
that
my
up?
phone
If
that
it's not a
day,
real event, then
and we
don't
moved
talk about
past
it.
That is the only time I
That
ever
screams
heard
to
her.
me.
And it was not.
I threw my phone on the thing
What makes that more
angrily
than just my
'cause
word
we were
is
fighting,
that at the
and it
time,
accidentally hit her. I still believe
her
it was an
only
accident,
account matched
but I
it
think
in
you may
2022.
have thrown it
When she had
with
the
anger on you.
bruise, she did not call
Pitching
it
a fit,
abuse to
and then,
anyone.
oh crap, it hit her.
She called it
I
an
didn't mean
accident
that.
both publicly
I think
and
that
in
might be what
private.
have happened. But
In Emiru's
like I
best
said,
friend
to
at the
avoid
time's
any
chat room
lawsuits
on
myself,
August 11,
that could be
2022,
wrong. It's just
surrounded by all of Emiru's
what
close
could have
friends
happened
and
based on
even her
his
brother.
demeanor, not
She
what
said
actually did
the
happen.
same thing.
No one was there
When a
except for
friend
them
asked her
too.
directly whether something had given her the black eye, she answered that it was not intentional and called the whole thing
And she defends
a
him,
funny
saying it's not
story
intentional.
that she would
So,
explain later. Bo
I
later,
agree. I think it
did
probably
someone
wasn't
knock
intentional.
you
He doesn't
out,
look like the kind of guy
Emiru
who
said,
beats on people.
Not
You can
intentionally.
usually tell.
I got a black eye a week or two, and it's finally almost gone. It's a long story.
Oh, so
but
funny.
funny
Okay, so,
as fuck. LOL. I'll DM
not
you
how
later.
I would
There was
describe
never a
something
police
like that.
report. There is nothing
but,
in any record from that time that treats this as an abuse.
Yeah.
In calls, text messages,
He didn't have to tell
or
that story.
anything that me and Emiru
I would have
had.
left that out.
It was not called
Unless it's part of the
intentional abuse
lawsuit.
until
And since he's the
3
one
years later,
deciding the lawsuit,
when Emiru went
I
live.
wouldn't have included that.
The bruise never changed.
But I think he is trying
story about
to
it
anticipate any defense
I
that
will
she
also
has.
have more messages
and
about
correct
this,
it.
as my lawyer lets me show, proving that this was never abuse, and Emiru has changed the story of it to fit her narrative to make people think that I am a monster. Emiru has accused me of sexual assault, stalking, and abuse. These are all crimes. In the time since, there has been no arrests, no criminal charges, no prosecution, no police complaints against me
Like I said,
have surfaced anywhere in this
If you're
case.
not going to
On
file
January
these charges,
15th,
if you're not going to call the
2025,
police,
the
then you're okay
federal
with what happened.
magistrate
Let's be
judge
honest.
has said
You're
to
not
the
mad enough.
district judge,
You
the
need to get
Honorable
mad. If
Robert
someone does these
Pittman,
things to you,
that
call the cops.
she would deny defendant Emily
Sue
Beth
them.
Shunk's
Do
motion
something.
to dismiss
Letting
the
it
First
slide
Amendment complaint. The order in which Ms. Rundino is to submit
It's just
a
not
more
right.
definitive statement
And
within
I don't
30
think any of these
days,
things actually
identifying
happen.
each
And
statement
that's
by
why.
Shunk. He
You don't,
alleges
if,
to be
when you're
defamatory,
hurt that badly,
including the
you're not
exact
going to
quotes
just let
from
it
the
slide.
live stream
Most
and
people
how
don't.
each statement is untrue and how it harms him. So what this essentially means is that Emiru's motion to dismiss did not go through, and that we are continuing the court case. That recommendation still
sounds
goes
edited
to the
after the
district
fact.
judge for a final
saying.
decision. And that same recommendation is why this record exists. The court told me to spell it out one by one, exactly what she said that I allege is false and how it harmed me. This is what I'm doing. It is the court letting my case move forward, not a verdict, and I won't describe it as one. To much of the internet, I am a rapist, I am an abuser, and I am a stalker. None of that is true.
And I think
And that is
I
the
believe
version of
him.
me
I really don't
posted
think he is
under
any of
every
those
video I
things.
made
I think that
and handed to
I
people
think
who
that
used
this
to watch
is
me.
a
People I
a
work
toxic
with
relationship that has gone
and
too
people
far.
who have never met me. It
That's
has
what
cost
I
me
think.
my
I think
reputation
these people
that I've worked
either
10 years for.
are madly in love with
It
each
has reached
other
my family,
or madly hate
it
each
has
other.
reached my friends, and has hurt
There's
my
two people
work
who cannot
directly.
be friends. And dude,
Making content,
do not, if you ever
getting
for some reason
sponsors,
watch this, don't go
and
back
using the
to it.
platform
Man.
I spent years building.
This is not going to work
the
out.
same
There's
community
no
she
way.
built her following on.
You just
And
may
it
not
did
be
not
meant
stay online. At multiple events,
Together.
I've been called a rapist.
Together. Meant
And
to
at
be.
one
Gosh,
event,
I'm tired.
minutes after I picked up a wristband, 3 security guards walked me out in front of everyone, and posts mocking me for it reached hundreds of thousands of people. I've been called a rapist to my face in bars and restaurants for most of the last 8 months, and I decided to stay inside because of that. This is a girl named Meg who said, "Imagine being such a prick you got kicked out of the FlyQuest party after showing up uninvited." This is another tweet. LOL, Mizkif got kicked
Why would you
out
go to a
of the
party you weren't invited to
FlyQuest
there?
party
Like I said,
after
this dude
being
is
rejected on the Partyful
weird.
app. And then someone asked, "What is this party? Also, what is the Partyful ALR? Thanks for ahead of time." She said, TLDR, he was rejected from an esports party, showed up anyway, and got kicked out instantly. So they tried to paint a narrative that I was kicked out and that I was not invited. I want to make it very clear. I was invited by my friend Alana. She just texted me and said,
All right, what we got here? Okay, I am not seeing what proves your point here. he's not showing this message up top here. So the top of the middle section, it looks like he's saying they haven't accepted my RSVP. Do they give you the option to put that you know me? Maybe cancel, redo it. Some people add it as a recent event. Okay. Okay. I don't know who this Alana person is. Unless she owns the venue, then getting in is not getting invited by her. It's getting invited by whoever runs the RSVP. So this is not. This does not prove his case about him being invited to a party. But this is not a crime. Sneaking into a party is not. Well, I don't know if that's a crime or not. But it's not what he's being accused of here. Texter between Alana and Ginu. Oh. Okay, wait a minute here. This is his friend. This does not prove your case. On this part here, this does not prove anything. This is your friend trying to get into a party with you as the +1. Yeah, I don't see... you make it make sense for me, but this does not prove your point to me. Maybe I'm missing something, but I'm not seeing anything here useful. Excuse me.
Said go. And I have been to hundreds of parties before Emiru's allegations with no problem in any way, shape, or form. And I got texted by Alana to go to this party with my friend Jeannie. We show up, we did get wristbands immediately, and we were able to walk in. 15 minutes later was when I was escorted out. I never had a problem getting into the party. I showed my ID just like everyone else and waited in line and was immediately let in. Only to be
if that is true, then that means he might have been on
This
the
was
list,
not a case of someone
I don't know how
who
these
was
kind of
simply
parties work.
disliked. And before I left for
Never really
Japan,
been invited to
after I
parties.
broke up with
I'm
Emiru,
not
I
cool
was
with
around
that.
creators of every kind. And when I came back, almost no one spoke to me. And while I was in Japan, Emiru went through all of my old friends and everyone that we were friends with and spread lies about me. And instead of going to the police or any legal channel, she went straight to the people who mattered the most in my life and my career. Whether out of bitterness that I was the one who ended it, or for some other
I'd
reason,
say bitterness most
I
likely.
cannot say. What I can say is that friends stepped back, not for anything I did, but for what she told them while I wasn't in the room. And the harm was done before I even said a single word. People watched Emiru's live stream and came almost immediately to every place you can find me and said that I was a rapist and destroyed my name. A false story then took hold that I had admitted to everything when I hadn't. When I spoke,
I'd like to see
I
Osmond
denied
Gold's
everything, and you can see it on my
response to this,
YouTube
because I
channel.
really want
And
to
the
know what
file
he thinks here,
transcript
because
proved it.
he's the one who first really...
But people who had
really
already made
brought
up their
this to
mind
light,
repeated the false
for
version
me
anyway.
over a
Her
year
words were
ago.
chosen with care, precise enough to be legally actionable, vague enough to let an audience picture the worst. She never had to say rapist. She said sexual assault.
Sexual
And to the
assault
millions
is the
of people
same
that she
thing,
said that
pretty
to,
much.
people now call me
And
rapist
it's still
to my face.
accusing you of a crime.
That is the harm. It is ongoing. It is every day.
Yeah, I'd say he has legitimate
that is
harm.
why
If
this record exists.
His case
Before
here
the
shows
breakup, I was
have
not an
actual harm, I
outcast,
have
as
harm
many
in
of
my
you
business.
I was the
He could
center
even
of this
probably
community.
showcase
This
view
is the
counts of
opposite
his
of the story that
channels
people now
and
tell
show
about me.
the
In the year
decline that
before the
occurred
breakup,
after that and the
2024,
revenue that
my
dropped
house was
because of this.
constantly having people there. I had 4 or 5 creators staying at my house almost every single night. I had extra Emily who was in the backyard doing something. I was hosting something, streaming with others, and collaborating with people across the entire Twitch scene. In the year that people try to paint that I was a nobody, I had over 100 collaborations with other creators, and I helped lead OnlyFans, the hardcore World of Warcraft guild that had over 300,000 active people checking in on it every single day, that Soda Poppin and I ran together, which brought
Well,
more
he
than
knows a lot of
300
famous people,
creators
but I
into
bet
the
he doesn't
same
know Bill
guild.
down
and
the
that
road.
was just a single
And
month.
I know Bill.
In October 2024,
So,
3 months
you know,
before
hey, we
our
all know some
breakup,
famous people here.
I collaborated with Foosley, Pokimane, the Botez sisters, T10 Nat, Hassan, and Extra Emily.
I don't know if
I had
knowing
a boys'
Hassan
night with
is really the
NMP,
flex you think it
E-Rob,
is.
and my friend Dave. I went to go see all of the Game of Thrones collection
is
before they
really
went
just
on
him
auction,
flexing.
and I even hung out with Jason, Max, and Ron that year. I also collaborated with people like Mari, Julia, and Danny. Yes, People try to call me an outcast, but I was outcasted when I came back from Japan. To show you how little of an outcast I was, these
this is
messages
the
are between
outcast
me
thing is going
and
to be
my
hard to
friend
really
at the
prove.
time, Leslie, who
His
is
revenue
also known
streams
online as
are probably
Foozly.
going to be
This
the
was
easiest
November
thing to really
2nd,
prove.
2024, just 2 months
Because
before me and
friendships
Emiru
come and
had
go,
broken
and
up.
it's hard
I was in
to
LA, and I wanted to meet
nail
up
that
with her,
down.
but she responded, I won't get to see you before you go, but I'm coming to Austin for OTK game day, so I'll see you in like 2 weeks. And then you can just come to LA whenever, cause you'll love it here. Oh lol, wait, that's great. What was your apartment complex called? On November 4th, 2024, she then tells me her apartment number. This was someone that I once called one of my closest friends, Foozly, wanting me to move to LA as I was telling her 2 months before I broke up with Emiru that I wanted to move to LA and get
See,
out of Austin,
I just don't
Texas.
see how relationships
I
work,
knew at
because
the time
if I talk to
that
some
I
other
wanted to
chick
end it with Emiru and
about,
move on.
you
At
know,
the time,
moving
Foozly
to where
was one
they
of my
live
best
and
friends in
what
the
their
city. Her
apartment
and I
number
would talk
was,
all the
I
time
feel
about
like
our
I'd be in
problems,
trouble.
our issues.
You know?
We would play games together.
Just
I was
saying.
hanging out with her on stream constantly for
I
about
couldn't
3
do
or
that.
4 years straight.
Maybe
And whenever
rich,
we had an
famous people
issue,
can, but
we'd
you
call
know,
each other.
me, if
Whenever
I
was in
started
LA,
texting some random
she was the
chick
first
that was a
person
really
I
close
called.
friend of mine, going,
Foozly,
"Hey, what
whose real
apartment
name is
number are you
Leslie.
in?
I met
might be
her
coming down to
4
Los
years
Angeles
ago
to come see you."
when I went on a girl named
I
Katamia's
feel
stream
like I'd get in trouble
for
for
her
that.
subathon.
That's a bad thing
And
probably
it
to
turned
do.
into some of the most fun I ever had streaming. We became close fast. We played games together all the time. We talked constantly about content, our lives, our relationships, and sponsors. When I was anywhere near LA, she was
also
the
like
first
business
person I
relationships.
called. And just 2 months before my relationship ended, she wanted me to move into her own building in LA. Right there with her,
That just sounds like
November 2020.
you don't move away from your girlfriend.
That the unit under Valkyries is available, and come to LA whenever. I'll love it here. That is the friendship this next part is going to show you that I had. I was very close to all of these people in LA, just like I was to everyone in Austin. But I wanted to move to LA, and I knew I wanted to break up with Emiru. This next part that I'm going to show will show you what has happened to my reputation ever since Emiru's accusations. On June 18th, 2025,
this was own
after
reputational
texting me
damage.
how excited that she was for me to come over, Foozly came to my house to hang out. She cut my hair, and I streamed it. The very next day, June 19th, is when Cutie Cinderella sent the message shown before you that Foozly had gone to Cutie asking what she thought about me, and Cutie told her her feelings and then told her to reach out to Emiru. Cutie is a dumbass and sent that message to an account that she thought was Emiru, but it wasn't. It was Emi-OK, who then gave it to me after Emiru made her allegations, showing you that people were my friends prior, but then once they heard Emiru's allegations, completely stopped talking to me. That is a 24-hour window between Foozly sitting in my house and excited to be there, and Cutie privately briefing her on what it is and how to think about me. After the one private conversation, Foozly stopped talking to me entirely. That friend who wanted to be there on day one of me moving to LA, that friend that wanted me to live in her apartment complex under her friend Valkyrie, was gone because she was told what to say and how to think about me. That friend who was at my house one day, who wanted me to live with
They're not
her
your
at
friends,
one
okay?
point, was now gone because
friends
of what she was told.
are your
in a
friends. They don't
private
just
message
abandon you for no
she was
reason.
never supposed to have. A message
Either-
from someone
Either there's evidence
not
out
even
there that
involved.
proves
repeating claims about me
Emiru's point,
that were never true,
or
and making her
they were
doubt
never
a
your
real
friends.
friendship.
And I
Over
lean toward they were never your
accusations
friends.
I was never even given the chance to answer. About a month later, after she hasn't responded
They
to
were
me,
business partners.
I went to a 100 Thieves party with some of my friends, and she was there. And Foozly walked up to me that night and began crying on my shoulder. When I asked her what was wrong, she told me that we could not hang out anymore because of what she heard I did to Emiru. At the time, I had no idea what was going on and what people were saying about me, and I would ask her to tell me what was said, but she would say no more. I tried to reach out to Foozly afterwards multiple times, and she never responded. On June 27th was the date of the 100 Thieves party. And after
I
crying
think
to me for
you need to
hours
take
on
this
my
case all the
shoulder,
way to the
telling
end.
me
You
that
need
she
to win
can't
it.
hang out with me
You
anymore
don't need to
because of
settle.
what she
You
heard
need to
I
win.
did, she said, "You're okay, Miz." I then said, "Just sad the reality, but maybe whatever." I then said, "It's just so fake, the politics are fake, so much crap and so much cheating and drama, and nobody cares and they hang out, but here I am and people don't want to talk to me." I then say to her the next day, We should talk, not drunk, off stream. She never responded. And on March 4th, to my friend Fuzley, I said to her, I hope one day we can hang out and you can see that she lied. So you have one day where she's at my house having fun, the next day Cutie Cinderella messages her, and then she never talks to me again. This is what was constantly happening to me for about a year until Emiru came out through allegations. I was not an outcast. I was friends with every creator. I slowly became an outcast over that year as Emiru's lies were spread amongst the community. And nobody told me what was really going on. For almost a year now, I have been forced to live inside a bubble that isn't mine, and it doesn't feel real. I've been wrongfully punished and treated and seen as a man that I am not. I've been labeled a rapist, an abuser, and a stalker. 3 words I have never been. Wrongfully attached to my name and my reputation
the sad thing
and
is,
my community
you
the
really,
entire world.
he can win this
treat me as
lawsuit.
such. It took
It's
more
not
than
gonna
my
save
name.
him.
It took
These
my
relationships are
reputation.
gone.
It reached into my family's life.
They never really were there, to be fair.
And it has completely destroyed me as a person.
And
I don't
he's
wish
right.
any of
This is what happens when
that
false
has happened to
allegations
me
come out.
among
You
my
don't
worst
just ruin
enemies.
somebody's
There
life.
were
People don't
nights
care.
it would have been
I hate to say
easier
it,
to
women
just
can be
disappear,
very vindictive.
to be quiet.
Hell,
to let
hath
the
no
loudest
fury
version of the story
than that of a
become
woman
the only
scorned.
one.
There's a
But
reason
it
that
didn't
saying
disappear,
exists.
and I'm not going to.
And he
This
should
is
have
not
known
the first
better.
time, and it will not be the
And
last
instead,
time
he
that
gets
I will
booty
address these
blinded.
allegations.
That's what it is. It's
I
booty
spoke
blinded.
the same way she did,
And
I've
booty
talked
blindness
about it on stream
is
since.
the death of
But this
men.
is the first time I've done it in a way with a clear head, with preparation, in every document in front of me, in every quote sourced. I spoke the same day she did, and I have talked about it on stream since. But this is the first time I've done it in this way. This is only the beginning, and I'm going to go through all of this.
I'm
because
curious
I
what else
know
he has
she
to go
won't,
on. I
because
really
it will
want to know the
prove
rest.
Her lies.
Um,
because the truth
I
doesn't
really
ask
believe.
me
I
to
believe.
shout, it
You
only
know,
asks me to stay.
as I'm sitting in
To
the court
stand
case,
here
I'm still not going.
with
I
these
still don't think he's
documents,
like the
with
coolest
dates,
dude. I think he's
with their own
probably a
words,
jerk.
and not look away.
It takes 2 to
I'm
tango.
standing
This
up for
relationship
myself.
that he had with her was bad.
I'm standing up for people.
And he
who
did some
stood by
stuff that
me,
I think
and
people in
I'm going to keep
relationships
standing
should not do.
for as long as it takes.
But none of it
This has been the
relates to
worst year
criminal
of my life.
anything.
I wouldn't wish this
I think
on a
it's just
single
bad
soul,
moves.
not on anyone,
And
no matter what they've done to me.
you know,
All
honestly,
I have ever wanted
he
is for the truth to be heard.
he seems
and
like a
for
better
justice,
person in this video
real justice,
than the
to
previous
find its
video
way
that
to
he
the
did
surface.
when he talked
to my
about
community
this.
and to everyone
Maybe
who
it's
never
because
stopped
he's
believing
had
in me.
become. Maybe he's been humbled
Believing in me cost you
when
something.
he realizes that everything he had
Thank you.
was built
Before
on
I go,
paper. Was built
there's
on
just
a
one more
car,
thing I want you to see.
a house of cards.
Just
but
one. This whole case will be decided on evidence. The messages, the devices,
the guy speaking
documents,
now
everything
does not
both
seem like the
sides has
guy
to hand
that he's
over.
talking.
Under
That
oath,
people think
I
he was
filed
then.
this lawsuit on November 3rd, 2025.
People
By
who
her
commit these
own
kind of
side's
crimes
account,
do
she
not
knew
want to go
about
through a
it
lawsuit,
November 10th.
especially
And on
a civil
November
lawsuit.
11th, the very
harder
next
to
day,
win those.
she went back on stream
there's
and
any
told
shred of
everyone,
evidence against you.
watching this,
Especially, I don't know where he
in her
filed it.
own words,
It's in
I got
think it's in
2 new
Texas. In Texas, he
computers.
might be a little more
My
fair.
other computer is gone. I gave it back
This
to
right here.
Starforge, and they wiped that shit.
I'll see you in the next video.
Sketchy.
Subscribe, comment, and please spread this.
So, yeah. What do you guys think? Do you think he's guilty? You think he did these things? You think he's innocent? I, for one, I think he's an innocent guy. I think this relationship was toxic. I think that he should have stayed broken up with her long before any of this happened. And I think that maybe he did some things in the relationship that people don't do in relationships, but I don't think that he did anything criminal. I think that this guy may be a jerk, but he's not criminal. I think he might, and in fact, the guy speaking now, I think, is a better guy than the guy I saw speak a year or two ago. He's had everything taken away from him. I think he has a strong case here. Like I said, I'm no lawyer, and none of this is legal advice, but I think he's got a strong case, and I think he should take this all the way through. I think he should go through the trial and actually let it get decided by a judge or a jury. I don't know whether he has a jury trial here, or if it's done by a judge. I'm not sure, but what was that? Okay. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and let's talk. Have a blessed day.